My dear. Good morning, everyone, again. Yesterday, we had a discussion um, that in regards to the difference between the time and space in this earth realm and the the necessity in transcending time and space. And the transcendency of time and space puts us uh, in a place where we are um, more, what we are seeking rather, to be the spiritual entities that we were created to be. And in our discussion, we realized that we talked about rather, there's no truth to be found in this earth at all, in this realm of time and space, because things are constantly changing. And when we think about the transcendency of time and space in the realm of spiritual insight, nothing changes. Everything remains the same all the time. Nothing is growing. Nothing is being created. The realm of spiritual essence is the space where everything has potential, because all that exists there is energy, and that energy has the potential to become whatever we desire it to become in terms of creation. And we also talked about from this space of potential came everything that we see with our eyes. And the idea of a tree is not the tree itself, rather, is a manifestation of life and the energy that brought that tree into existence, as opposed to simply being a tree. There's more to it than that. And because of that unicity with the energy, the spiritual energy, that tree, that gives us an understanding, rather, or an example as to how and why indigenous people are able and were able to discuss, to understand, rather, the signs of the times, or were able to become one with everything that exists in this earth realm. We also talked about how our 276, would you mute, please? We also talked about we um, how we lost that by virtue of living by what we see, according to what we see, as opposed to what we are experiencing from the other realm. That's pretty much the gist of what we talked about. Of course, it was much more than that. And today, hopefully, we will be looking at the parade of planets in such a way that it would tell us a story. That's our desire anyway. However, before we even endeavor to look at that, I would like to ask you if there are any questions from yesterday, or if there are comments based upon what we talked about yesterday, or anything that has crossed your path or has actually come to your mind. Questions, comments?
Yes, sir. This is Ron. I'd like you to talk about transcending time and space for just a little bit so I can make sure I see that. The other thing is, are those two separate things? Or are they one and the same?
Okay.
Time and space, I mean, are those two separate things? Yeah.
They are only separate in our minds. Would you mute your phone, Charles? Thank you. They are separate in our minds. They're not separate in reality. It's impossible for it to be separate and in reality. And the reason I say it is impossible for it to be separate in reality is because, regardless of where you are, spiritual energy is always there. Even right now, you cannot find a nook or cranny where spiritual energy is not present. It is everywhere. It is you cannot escape the presence of the creative energy that brought us and everything else into existence. So they are one. In our minds, they are not, because we have been talked out of that. We have been taught a different storyline about that. We have been told through science and through religion that they're separate. Meaning in religion, it says that we are separate from the spiritual, meaning we're separate from heaven. Yet God lives in heaven, and God is with us always. So that in itself is a misnomer. It's impossible for God to be with us always, and we be separate from the spiritual, separate from heaven rather, and cannot be in cannot interact with this space called heaven unless we die. So that doesn't make sense. The other part of it, the spiritual, with the scientific, that's for most sciences, it's the universe separate from the humans in the earth, even though the universe has influence. However, when we look at it from the beginning of time, and we begin to see that spirituality has always been in the earth, religion came as a result of the invasion of the Greeks into Kemet. What we began to see, if we look at it historically and spiritually, what we began to see is that the things that we call material in this earth are simply extensions of the thoughts that emanates in the realm of the spirit. Even our bodies are thoughts that emanates from the spiritual realm, and the idea of our bodies being separate from spirit is an impossibility, because when the spirit separates from the body, it deteriorates. So as long as there is life in this body, there is no separation. I hope I'm answering your question, Ron.
Yeah, yes, you are. What we're in the midst of doing now, and searching for truth in the meditation, is the transcending portion.
Transcendency, yes, transcendency is imperative. You cannot be spiritual without transcending. When we were brought into this earth, we were spiritual. All children are spiritual, and you can see that by virtue of their actions or their speech. When they first begin to talk, they talk about things that they don't see. We are the ones who continue the tradition of separating them from their spirituality in their minds. And that is because of our egos. Our egos have desires that are not in lockstep with our spiritual realities. When we look at the whole concept of ego, what we find is that the ego is the obstacle, because ego only sees what's in front of us. Ego is the thoughts of the different types of personalities that we have, and if we are unable to control the forces that operate through us, we will be led astray, meaning that we will be led in a direction that's different than that of spiritual ascension. Religion does that to us. Religion teaches us the dogma or the doctrine of that religion, and it gives us the ritual, the communion, the baptism, etc. But it does not give us space for an experience. And when you are taught the dogma or the doctrine of spirituality, and you begin to meditate on what you are being taught, you begin to have experiences. And the experiences that you begin to have transcends time and space. And the transcendency of that gives us opportunities to become who we were created to be. It changes the way we think, and it also begins to glean. I'm sorry, it begins to receive from the soul rather than the egotistical thoughts that guides us in our everyday life. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
So,
Thank you.
you're welcome, sir. So we must attain this sense of our transcendental consciousness, awareness, and in order to do that, you have to know what's in your heart. And when you search your heart, you have to be honest with yourself, because your heart will tell you what your desires, your feelings are, and when you see that in your heart there are desires for religion, but there are not desires for ascension. And what I mean by that is this: religion teaches us, depending on what religion you ascribe to. Religion teaches us that when we die, we're going to heaven. Religion teaches us that some religions rather teach us that the health and wealth, that we're all supposed to be rich. Um, and if that's where your heart is focused, then that has to be purged. Why? Because that is mimicking your heart. That is not your heart at all. That is mimicking your heart. That is mimicking your desires. That is taking advantage of your innate ability to have desires. And it is guiding you in a direction that keeps you earthbound within this time and space. When you when you see that in your heart, and you understand that your heart is filled with love and kindness, that your heart has a desire for humanity to live in concert with each other. When you begin to see that and experience that within, it is then that you begin to be regenerated. You begin to be revitalized, and a type of spiritual resurrection takes place, so that you are able to continue the ascendancy and understanding the nature of your creation, the nature of spirituality, as well as the reality that you are God. You were brought into this earth in the image and likeness. So therefore you are what the image and likeness is. And you have the power and opportunity to stabilize this earth realm if you choose to do so. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Okay, if there aren't any questions or comments, no one has sent me any questions anyway. I don't know whether they have texted them to anyone else, but I haven't received any. But if there are no questions or comments, then I want to ask if there are questions or comments again. I want to ask if there are any questions or comments about anything before I ask. Janice, are you ready?
Talking to me, Rev?
I think someone has a question.
Someone has a question? What's your question?
Sounds like George.
George, you have a question?
Yes, I do, but yet whoever was not, but however, whoever was first can go before me.
We can barely hear you, George.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
now, what'd you say?
The question that I have is, Reverend Richard, could you give me your definition of what an experience is in a comparative degree of perception? I kind of got my own answer to that. Yet I just want to hear your definition or anyone else's definition of what is an experience as compared to someone's perception is their reality. That was it.
Okay. First of all, experiences are different, and they vary with the number of people who have those experiences. My experience will be different than an experience that you may have had. Yesterday, when we were talking, Evelyn mentioned an experience that she had sitting by the water and how peaceful it was. There have been people in the past who have mentioned their spiritual experiences. In particular, mine vary. I don't have the same experiences all of the time. One of the major experiences that I've had recently is when I spoke with you guys about my having said to the universe, the people having fallen sick or fallen prey to leukemia, that I have done everything I can. I've done everything I know to do, and nothing was changing really, and I simply just let it go. And the universe has to deal with this. I can't. My experience in that regard came a couple of days ago. Well, actually a few weeks ago, but was confirmed a couple of days ago. And that is that the worst is behind us, that she is far more energetic and alert than she's been in almost 3 years. She is more like who Phoebe is as opposed to who she was during these last 3 years. Now, you say that's Phoebe's experience. It is in terms of her physicality, but it is also my experience in terms of spirituality and my desires. Now, how do I describe that feeling? I can't. And I don't know if anyone can actually describe a spiritual experience with the adjectives that we are accustomed to using, and give someone a clear picture of what they are talking about. If you can do that with your experiences, I'll appreciate it. However, I do not believe that a spiritual experience can be defined, but it can, in some cases, be described. Thank you. It may be clumsy, but described. Is there anyone else who's had an experience who would like to speak to that before we go back to George, please? Okay. Evelyn, are you on? Okay, George.
Yes, sir. I'm here.
Did I rightly describe your
I'm here,
experience?
Pastor Jay.
Did I rightly articulate what you said yesterday about sitting by the water?
Okay. Yes, sir.
Okay.
I
Did I say what you said? That's what I'm asking, I guess.
Oh, yeah. Because again,
Okay.
I was sitting by the water and I was just listening to the water. It has a fountain in the middle of it, of the lake. And the water was just going, going, going. And all of a sudden, I started focusing on that. And then it's like I ascended higher into the Sabbath. I felt like that was the Sabbath because I had peace. I didn't hear anything. It was like balance. It was just a calm, and I was in a beautiful place. That's what I said yesterday.
Thank you. There have been a couple of people who talked to me about their experiences in that regard. I won't call them out by name. However, if you choose to share that, would you do that right now, please?
I had experience like what everybody's talking about. My experience was when I had that feeling, I was at a point of crossing over, and being on this side and the other side. And what I mean by that, you'll feel a peace in your life that you ain't never felt before, and all the weight of this world seems to move away, vanish. And you when you on the other side, it seems like it pulls you where you don't worry about nothing else. You don't have nothing weighing you down. You ain't this earthly things around you. It's none of that don't matter anymore. You be in peace with yourself, and
Thank you, sir.
that's
Oh,
how.
okay. Thank you. Now I want you to hear something. Evelyn and Charles described the same thing. One was life and death, and the other was sitting beside the water, having a peaceful experience. Both of them are the same. That is something to consider. However, if there's if there's anyone else, please do so now. If not, I want to hear from you, George Watson.
Is that where we're supposed to be? Is that what this life's supposed to feel like? We're
That's
supposed to.
ascendancy, yes. That's reeks of ascendancy, yes. When we transcend, what happened in both cases, time and space had been transcended, and there was an experience of ascending to the place where we realize the true nature of our spirituality or our spiritual essence. Let me put it that way. Okay. Ron, does that help?
Yes, sir.
Okay. George?
Oh, we thank you for your definition. Appreciate you.
Uh-huh. Anyone else? Okay.
Good morning, Pastor. This is Kathy. I wanted to share just a dream that I had, and I spoke with you about it. It was like last month or a couple of months ago. I can remember being up in a place, and we were outside, and it was just extremely hot, and everybody was just oppressed by the heat. And then I stepped into a place that was lush and green. It was still like outside, but it was no longer outside like in the heat. Everything was lush and green. It was a peaceful, just a very quiet, beautiful place. And I was immediately just everything everything just around me stood still. And I went into the space where I didn't want to leave this place. And I was just there in the moment, and I felt like balance, peace, everything was like it was supposed to be. And then I remember, I think it was Linda that suddenly was at my side, and she said, "Come on, let's go." And I was reluctant to go, but I remember we left that place. I really did not want to leave. And when I was talking to you about it, even though it was a dream, I really believe in my heart and soul that I was in that space and time for real. I think I really went there while I was sleeping. And you have told me to see if I could get back to that place through my meditation. So far, I have not been able to go there again. And I can't tell you where I was because I don't know. But it was like the epitome of everything that life is and is supposed to be. The beauty of it all was in that time and space, and the coolness and everything was just perfect. It was right, like it was supposed to be. I do want to be able to go back to that place at some point, but I haven't been able to do it yet. But I just wanted to share that with you.
Thank you. Again, the same experience, but different places. Water, beside the water, asleep, life and death. All the experiences are being described the same way. Any questions or comments about that? Or are there any experiences that anyone else want to mention today? Okay. Okay, I will take it then that we do have an understanding of our discussion yesterday and those things that were the questions that were raised today. The responses to them are clear with all of us. Thank you. Again, Janice, are you ready?
Good morning. I'm not sure. We shall see.
Well, that's a good thing, not being sure that you're ready.
So Pastor asked me about a planetary alignment that started on June 3rd. Certain times of the year or just cyclically, the planets will, it looks like they're lining up close together in the sky. And we can see that probably around dawn, sometimes at dusk. It kind of depends on where you are and what's going on with the planets themselves. But each of those planets represent a type of energy that we have an opportunity to take advantage of. They might represent challenges, they might represent opportunities, and I kind of like to think of it as weather. If you know it's going to rain, you might put fertilizer out on the lawn so you don't have to, spend your own water to do it. You might plan, if it's going to be sunny, you might plan a day in the park with your family. Like if you know what's going on with the weather, you have an opportunity to take advantage of what's going on. And the same is true, I guess you could call it astrological weather. As those energies fluctuate, if you're aware of them, you can take advantage of them. So the planets that have lined up are Mercury, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. And this alignment, oddly enough, will take place again in August. Give me a second, I can tell you when. August 28th, we'll see the same 6 planets line up again in the sky. And I'm not sure, I know that this particular alignment started on June 3rd, and I don't know if you're able to still see it, but I know we'll definitely have another opportunity on August 28th. But speaking specifically to the different individual planets and the energies that they represent, you can look at it from like a personal perspective. So where those planets were when you were born tells a story about the energies that were available when you entered this plane or entered this sort of physical reality. But you can also look at it from a more broad perspective, sort of like what's going on currently, which is what we're taking a look at now. So anyway, Mercury is the first planet. It represents communication, thought, and reason. It's also kind of our ability to share knowledge with others and form bonds of connection based on shared understanding and interests. But I think like the biggest takeaway for this particular discussion is probably that communication and that sense of connection. The next planet in the lineup is Mars. It has a lot to do with your ability to assert your will in the world, to defend your desires and your sense of who you are. Like it's a planet of action and moving forward. The next planet is Jupiter, and that one has to deal with growth, expansion, abundance. It's typically, we're looking at that growth and expansion through a spiritual experience. Following that is Saturn. And Saturn is an interesting planet. I don't believe in like positive or negative energies. Like we've talked about that before. But Saturn is a planet that represents limits, learning patience, moving forward through healing and accepting the consequences of a sort of karmic life cycle. So as you have experiences and you learn from them, you're able to move forward. And that's kind of what Saturn represents. Uranus is a planet that talks about personal awakening and grasping divinity within ourselves and understanding who we are. And we've also got Neptune, which speaks about creative potential and how we connect with the spiritual dimension. So that's the kind of final planet in the lineup. And trying to kind of take all of these concepts and synthesize them together tells me something that we're actually already aware of. This is a really potent time to understand who we are, how we are connected, and be able to communicate that divinity out into the universe, like to help move mankind forward. So that's my little my little spiel, if you will, on kind of a breakdown of what those different planets, like the kind of energies that they're projecting. But I'm very curious about questions because we could easily dig into any of this a good bit more.
I have a question.
Evelyn, before you have the question, ask that question, let me say this, please.
Okay.
Just in case you're wondering, some of you may be on for the first time, I don't know. But if you're wondering why the planets and we are here to study spirituality / before religion rather. I actually need to do this because that's our wheelhouse. The other thing is there is absolutely nothing that takes place in the universe that does not have a spiritual meaning and an effect on us. If we don't recognize the effects, if we don't recognize the spiritual meaning, the spiritual understanding of it, then the positive results will pass us by, as opposed to inspiring us to continue this journey and to aspire to higher aspirations of learning who we are spiritually. Okay, so anyway, that's what I wanted to put that out there so you would understand that everything that we talk about not don't only have spiritual connotations, they are spiritual indeed. Thank you. Evelyn, go ahead, please.
Okay. Does the laws of Mayat coincide with the planets? So do they have something to do with each other? They intermingle with each other? Because when she was talking, that's what I saw.
I say yes.
Yeah, that's
It's
what I felt as
impossible for
well.
it not to. So what, Janice?
That's what I felt as well.
Yeah. All of it is interpersonal, right? So it deals with the humanity. Everything deals with us in this earth.
It seems like in the last few years, several years, a lot of stuff has been becoming aware to us that deals with energy and space and sort of thing. So that the energy part of, because all of it deals with energy, and I wanted that gets my attention just to, does anybody feel anything further from it, even if it sounds ridiculous to you? What if you had an opportunity to say, this is what I want this to mean, or this is what I see in this, what would that be? Just for me, I guess. The other part of my question is this. This happened on June 3rd. Why? Has anybody thought about that date and why is it happening again in August? Or are these dates significant? Has anybody looked at that?
I thought about that, Ron, but I was not.
This is Vermel. I remember that there was, Nick had mentioned this, and there was a news thing
Vermeil,
about
hold
it.
1 second, please.
Okay.
735, would you make sure you're muted, please?
I have a comment.
Vermeil, go ahead, please.
Okay, there was another set of Northern Lights that appeared, the 3rd and 4th and the 5th. And I'm wondering if that was the ancestors in conjunction with the alignment of the planets.
I want to say something before Janice responds to that. I think it's inescapable. I was looking for understanding of the planet alignment. And what I came across was this, that there are 2 portals from the sun to the earth. And it's like a shaft that's as large as the entire earth. And through those portals, every 8 minutes, there's energy that's emitted from the sun to the earth. And it's an article that I read. I sent it really to Ron to see what his response to it would be. I guess both of them ours were the same. My first response was, why 8 minutes? And the other one was, why the North Pole and South Pole? Those things I don't know about yet. However, I do believe that based on what Vermeil, the question she raised, I think it's important to point out that we have a continuous influx of energy from the sun every 8 minutes. And for all of these astrological events to be taking place as closely as they are, there has to be a message to us if we take all of them into consideration and make every effort to understand them, not so much to capture what they mean as is to give an understanding of the effects of it to those who are listening, but also to put it in the macro so that humanity can benefit from it. Is humanity experiencing it? Yes. But an experience without knowing you were experiencing something leaves a lot to be desired. If we put in the macro, then I do believe that we will get a greater benefit from these experiences. Thank you. Vermeil, does that help you?
Tremendously. Thank you.
And I believe we had a comment. It might have been George in Philly. I'm not sure though, but I know the phone number ends in 735, and there was a comment there as well.
Oh, that's George. Okay.
Yes, good morning, everyone. Janice, when you spoke about the alignment of the planets, and Ron mentioned in reference to some dates, but I just wanted to look at when you mentioned August the 20, I believe August the 28th, 2024. The numerical meaning talked about the importance of the realm of divine vibration. And so we talk about energy flows as our attention goes. And as we now come into this awareness of energy, it relates not only to the enlightenment of power of our chakra energies, but the rainbow spectrum frequencies in terms of our intuitive feelings, intuitive. The words are not coming out. Intuition, But what is also significant is that when we look at the date August 28, 2024, you know, the root number actually comes out to be 8. I think that again, in terms of our own self-awareness, you know, which is essential, but also our collective consciousness. So I don't think there's no coincidence, you know, that, you know, we all are seeking that spiritual enlightenment, but it's coming at a time where it's relevant with regards to where we are. So I just wanted to share the importance of what Ron mentioned about does the dates have significance? And I truly believe they do. And whether or not it's in reference to astronomy, whether it's in reference to cosmology or the reference to numerology, it has a spiritual significance. I just wanted to share those thoughts. I'm done.
George, you said it, the root number is 8, right? For August. George?
For that alignment, I think that's what he was saying, for that
Yeah,
alignment.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, number 8.
Well, when you look at June, the root number is the same. 6 and 3 is 9, and 2024 is 8, and that's 17, and the root number is 8. So every 8 minutes, 8 is the root number for what's happening in June. 8 is the same thing for. So the energies are the same, is what I'm saying. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So all of them are dealing with 8. 8 is beginning, a new beginning, right?
New beginning, and to make something fat, to be satisfied, be saturated, excuse me.
Okay.
To have more than enough, to overflow. And to move from the natural to the supernatural. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Okay, Bob.
I'm sorry. The root number for 8/9/2025, when it will happen again, is 8 as well.
Is 8 as well?
But in between there, on 1/18/2025, the root number will be 1. And on 2/28/2025, all of this is happening these many times. The root number is 3. And if I think, you know, sometimes it takes up to 150 years for some of these planets to align, you know, seemingly align. They're not aligned. They just seem to be 150 years. And I guess my question is, how long has it been since this has happened this much and so closely together? And it seems like it's been a minute. So this is unusual.
So that tells me something anyway. See if it makes sense what I'm seeing here as you speak. That is, time is shrinking. So the earth is being inundated with an awareness of spirituality, meaning that we are moving beyond time and space in terms of our desires for humanity. And if we look at the root numbers that you've stated, the ones in 2025, do them again, Barbara, if you will, please.
1/18/2025. George, please double check me with some of these, because sometimes I get out there and I miss something. But 1/18/2025 is 19, or that means 1 + 9 = 10, and the 10 is 1 + 0 = 1. So that's how I got 1.
Mm-hmm.
And then 2/28/2025. If you total those, it equals 21, or 2 + 1, or 3. And then the 8/9/2025 equals 26, or 2 + 6, which is 8.
is 8. So 2025 looks like the creator itself or herself, 1, and 3 is the divine energy. And the latter one in September, you say is 8, right?
Yeah. And
So,
August 8, 9, 8, and 5.
oh, okay, August. Okay, so we are at a new beginning. Are we saying that, or can we say that when we cross this bridge into 25, we would be at a space where we begin to see a huge influx or movement of the creator within the confines of this realm of time and space, and then the 3 represents the divine energy, which is energy that is recognized, embraced, and shared between our creator and us in this earth. So and then the 8 represents new beginnings. So are we safe to say that August of 25 would be a new beginning for the entire globe? And when I say for the entire globe, I'm talking, of course, about humanity and our desires for balance. Am I off base there?
I don't think, I'm sorry, go ahead, Bart.
That wasn't me, Ron.
Okay. I don't think you're off base, Pastor. I want to look at it a little differently though, and you guys tell me if I'm off here, okay? Because I don't want to try to force.
Let me say this to everyone, Ron. Let me say to everyone, please understand something. We are seeking guidance from the universe for understanding what we're talking about, because this is our first look at this as well. Okay, go ahead, Ron.
Okay, if you look at the entire journey, and we studied the scriptures and studied the scriptures and studied the scriptures till we went over things 2 and 3 times in some cases, and we started seeing things in the universe. Or God, the Creator, started showing us astronomical things, and we looked at the age of Aquarius, and we looked at planet alignments and all these things, and here we are with all of this in our midst. And as Barb said, it's been quite a while since this has happened, and for it to be happening so frequently. So with that said, religion has taught us to be passive, that God is God and we can't do what God do. We can't do what Jesus do. So what if this is the universe saying to us, look at who you are? And my question to you, not just to pastor, but to everybody, if this is an opportunity that the universe is saying, the quest that you have been on, what do you desire this to be? What do you desire this to look like? What do you desire to happen right now in your life and in the universe? What would your answers be? What do you desire this to be?
I think you're absolutely right, Ron.
Yeah.
And we're
I mean,
being given,
I think I'm sorry, go ahead, Janice.
oh, I was just going to add, I mean, we're being given the energy to make it happen,
Yes.
to not just understand who you are, but to expand upon that.
So by saying that, Janice, are you inferring that the Creator is saying to us, you're very much aware of who you are already? So what you gonna do with it? Is that what you're inferring? Okay. With that inference, then.
Well, remember too, sorry, remember too, we just came off a few weeks ago the solar flares and the electromagnetic energy that
Yeah,
we all kind of experienced. And
Yes.
even though it tired us out initially, we felt very energized after that. At least I did. So I think all that ties in too, in terms of getting us ready to receive this energy and to use it in a way that will benefit humanity. So, and it is our choice as to what we do with it.
So we need to be listening, or we need to be experiencing, because the inference here is that whatever we determine it to be, that's what it would be. Whatever we determine it to be.
yes,
For those who cannot see, she's shaking her head, yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
especially with the numbers telling us it's a new beginning. So
Yes.
it's whatever we determine it to be.
thank you.
Whatever the new beginning we determine, that's what it's going to be. Now, I want to ask a question, a blanket question. And my question is this: has any of you felt agitated, or I'm so tired of what's going on? I'm tired of it, and I just want to bring it to an end. Have you felt that strongly recently? I
Yes.
said in the last 10 days. Everyone
Yes.
who has, please say
Yeah.
so.
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I've over the last 3 weeks, I've really felt it when I was just sitting and meditating, and then, you know, when I thought about everything that was happening, the famines in Sudan and other places in Gaza, inside of me screamed enough, and it was a scream, enough. I can remember the words, enough, cease, desist, stop. And then Kathy said, well, the latter part of what I screamed, which wasn't a scream, it was peace, be still. The scream started with enough, like I'm done with this. You know, you carried this too far. And the scream petered out into the gentle peace, be still kind of thing. So, and that was an experience for me. If we were talking about experience earlier, but it was
Yeah.
a felt experience that when I came off of the enough and got to the peace, be still, it was like things were imbalanced again. So, yeah, to answer your question, that was a long answer to a short answer that I should have given. Yes, I felt that.
No, you should have given the answer you gave, because I honestly feel like you expanded on what the majority of us have been experiencing anyway.
yeah,
I had a reason for asking that question, because usually things don't bother me. I've gotten past the stuff that goes on in the earth, because I know that is happening for a reason. However, the last few days, maybe a week or two, I have felt agitated, or I have experienced, if not agitation, exhaustion, spiritual exhaustion. And I was speaking with Ron about this morning. I said to him, I feel like it's over. And he was telling me that he was so tired of it. And I'm saying also that I am too. And usually that doesn't bother me like that. And the question is, okay, we have done everything that we have been shown on this journey. So when is it that the results of our journey is experienced? When does humanity experience this? When do we get to the place where we are able to see the harmony that we have been searching for. Whatever it is, if there is anything that we have not accomplished, have not done, have not discussed, please let us see it, because humanity is suffering, and enough with this. As far as watching the news and as far as listening at the talking heads, I'm tired of. It does make my heart bleed to hear the things like what's happening in terms of the lies that we hear are receiving from Gaza in particular, and the lack of attention that's being paid to the other places, especially on the continent of Africa, where famine is taking place, as Barbara stated, and wars that are being fueled by Europeans. Let's just face it. I listened at this thing from the Queen Nanny in Jamaica, and one of the things that struck me that the lady was talking about and talking about Queen Nanny, who was a liberator in the 1700s in Jamaica. She said it was not the Atlantic slave trade, because the Atlantic has not enslaved anyone. It is the European slave trade. And when we call things as they are, that's when the effectiveness of our journey is more often seen. So I say all of that to say this. What are our expectations? I don't want us to talk about that at this moment as much as I want us to think about it, to experience it internally. Ron asked a question earlier, and I felt the same way in terms of our contemplating, because I wonder if there truly is anyone who see clearly what we should be advocating for. I know we talk about harmony, but I'm talking about the advocacy. Is there something explicit that we are to advocate for? Or is there, are there things that that we can, or a thing rather, that we can talk about that will cover the what to do thing, that will cover the what's next, that will give us an understanding of what this new beginning is. Not necessarily a pictorial of what is going to become, but at the very least, a sense of unicity in the initiation of this new beginning. And when I say unicity, I mean being on the same page with the eights that we are experiencing now and in August, and with the unicity that we have and we will experience in January. But the number one is that divine experience with our divine creator. She's going to give us that experience. And then to not only have that divine experience, but the three is speaking to the expansion rather of energy in this earth, with it culminating into a fresh beginning for everyone. So are we saying right now that those of us who are on this journey for now in June, as well as or in August, this is our fresh beginning, meaning that we are another place in this journey. We have journeyed to where we are, and there is an unfolding that's taking place that will give us opportunity to see things as we never seen them before. And as a result of seeing that, January the 1, when that comes into play, that the unfolding will make more sense to us. Does that make sense? Or am I speaking in a convoluted manner?
It does make sense.
No. Yeah, good morning, Pastor and everyone. Again, you know, as we appreciate Spirit moving, what I'm feeling is that if we are moving with the right action and the right livelihood, the power is there, and I believe that it's now how we activate the power for unicity to be able to bring loving kindness and harmony to the universe. And I guess what I'm trying to say is that if we utilize this power, you know, for the right actions and the right livelihood, then it's going to create the desires that we have. And if we use it in that right way, and I think it's like, you know, people are given power, but they use it for the wrong way, and so unfortunately it does not have the manifestation that we desire. And I know that in our spirit, I believe that it's that oneness that we all desire. But when it comes, I just, you know, in a meditative mindset, that it's going to be used for that right action and that right livelihood for the purpose of healing humanity. So again, and it may not come out exactly the way I wanted to say, but I know that people are given power, but because they use it in the wrong way, that's why we're in that condition or situation we're in. But I see the change that's manifesting, that's happening right now, where I truly believe that we are. So those are just my thoughts. I wanted to share those. Thank you. I'm done.
Thank you, George. I see what you're saying. I really do. And what came to my mind as you were talking is this. After we talked about the Jesus issue in terms of non-existence and the depth to which the scriptures have been manipulated, or the writings, rather, I should say, the writings of the Kemetic priesthood have been manipulated. All of that we have been taught all of our lives, the Christianity stuff. How did you feel like empty maybe, or have a question? So where do we go from here? We don't have this anymore. You took my Jesus, you took my belief in the scriptures. Where do we go from here? Did you feel empty? And this is not rhetorical because I have a reason for asking this question as well. Did you feel empty? Did you feel like you were standing with not without knowledge as to which direction to go in? Please respond to that.
Yeah.
I will.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
Did you?
Ron.
No, go ahead, Audrey. I'm sorry.
I've been thinking about that a lot. And I've been thinking about, okay, so who or what am I praying to? How do I can't call on the Father. I can't, what do I do? How do I feel about this? I mean, I've had all of those thoughts and feelings and concerns and emotions and but today what has come to me is that we are coming into a unity with the Creator that's beyond religion, that's beyond Christianity that's beyond all of the labels and coming into our true selves and experiencing the energy and the power that's available when we realize that we are truly connected and have unity and harmony with the universe. So today has been a revelation to me in that regard. Because yes, I did have all those questions about, okay, so what do I do now? Where do I go from here? So yeah, I can see more clearly who I am and where I go from here. Anyway, so today's been a real revelation in terms of me understanding that I am one with the universe, with the creator, with the goddess, and it's beyond anything I ever knew before. Anyway, I'm
Thank
done.
you. Thank you very much. I'm having a spiritual experience now. I feel something that I can't quite put my finger on, but I want you, if there's anyone else, please speak. This is extremely important. I feel a sense of presence like I experienced when I'm consulting the ancestors for clarity. So, but please go ahead. Is there anyone else who have experienced what Audrey's talking about and the question that I raised?
Yeah. Not only that, I appreciate Audrey's answer, because that brought some comfort to me as well. As I mentioned to Pastor, that my experience has been, I kind of felt out in space. I didn't know what to do with the Bible. My prayer, especially the last couple of years, has been for the Creator to lead us to what we ought to study, not just pick a lesson, not just pick a subject or a topic, but where are we? What direction to take us in? And I got to a point where I was drawing blanks. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know where any answers in the scriptures or what to look at outside of the scriptures, and just kind of felt like out there in space a little bit. And then couple that with everything that's going on, that also led to a this is enough kind of thing. This is enough. I've had it. We're doing everything we've been asked to do. We're doing everything we've seen to do. Where do we go from here, kind of thing. So yeah, I appreciate the question. I appreciate Audrey's answers, because that kind of helped me kind of right my rudder as well, and take some peace from today, as well as some direction from today. But yeah, I very, very strongly felt that way. And even it even answers some of what Georgia said, because immediately my quest was, or my question was, look inside of me and at my frustration and at my even at times vindictiveness, and push all of that aside so that I can see enlightenment, so I can see what I'm supposed to see when we answer this question and move in that direction. Don't let this be a personal thing or something that I want, that you see you have power and you want to take advantage of it, but let it be for what it's supposed to be. Let it be the direction that we have been aiming for all along. So I think all those things are connected, at least with me. Thank you.
Thank you.
As
Anyone
Janice
else?
talked about, yes, as Janice talked about the planetary alignment, or the seeming alignment of the planets, and she broke it down and talked about, Mercury's communication Mars is asserting your will. Jupiter is growth, expansion, abundance, all of that. Uranus, personal awakening, understanding who we are as divinity. Neptune, creative potential. All of that to me was reinforcing of all of the things that we've been doing in the last year or so, or last couple of years. It's real. It's almost as if the planets are assigned to us that, okay, you guys are getting this. You are beyond. You're getting beyond your ego. You're getting beyond your physicality, and when you think about other people and you think about the world, others besides yourself, that's what it's all about. That was the sense that I've gotten, and so when we started talking about the entity called Jesus and its origin and all of that, it's almost like some pillars, some religious strongholds were destroyed, and everything that was built on top of those pillars was undermined, and it crumbled to the ground. In a sense, it crumbled. It was no more. And all that was left was the reinforcing resonance that I am energy, that I am the creator and the creator is me. That everything that's happening in the world is the chaos that's going on as things are righting themselves. And that's what I see as when I talked about the seeming pillars of religiosity being destroyed. That's how I see what's happening in the world. It's the chaos before the calm, in a sense. And so I believe that the universe gave us that purpose when we meditated that time on what it is we should be meditating on. Peace and harmony and balance for the universe. Mm-hmm. That was the beginning of our going back to being reminded of what Maya was all about. That was the beginning of righting ourselves in terms of balance and being on one accord and connected with each other in that we know that we are one, not only with ourselves, but with everything physical that we see. And so I'm not pessimistic at all, even though things it just seems to be winding, things are just, the top is just spinning and spinning and spinning. You don't know where it's going to stop. I'm not pessimistic. It's almost like the universe is putting on these displays, these signs in the heavens, as a reminder to us, hang in there. You're on track. Keep doing what you're doing. The universe is responding to you. You're beginning to resonate with the universe, because these things wouldn't happen if you weren't resonating with the universe. So that's how I'm experiencing this right now, in a sense.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Anyone else?
I'll just add, was there someone else, I think, or that just, I heard another person come in.
You go right ahead.
Okay. I just wanted to add, I was looking again at the planetary alignments that are coming up, and next year, Venus will join the lineup. So we will have in January, the date that we identified as 1, we'll have the same 6 planets, but then there will be 2 more dates next year where Venus joins the lineup. And Venus represents femininity, harmony, and balance, which I think ties in perfectly with what Barbara was just saying.
Out of the womb of Venus came everything that is. That is the message from Kemet. All life came from Venus, the womb of Venus. That is the energy of Venus is the emanation of a life source for this earth. I think that's very pertinent. There are some other things I need to say. However, I want to see if there is anyone else who have been experiencing this sense of emptiness, or what do I do with the Bible? As Audrey said, who do I pray to? That kind of thing. Since we talked about Jesus and scriptures being manipulated. My experience is that the emptiness, the questions of to whom shall I pray? The question of what am I to do with the scriptures that have been my God for so long? These questions did not come from flesh and blood. This feeling of emptiness is because we were emptied out. When we talk about the thing of the sense of being purged of all of those inconsistencies and fallacies that we have been taught, the purging of those things leaves emptiness. And if you leave emptiness, those things will resurface and fill that space again. However, because of that emptiness, because that emptiness was filled with a deeper desire, a spiritual understanding and spiritual wisdom, the purging has been successful. And we are not on the verge of being filled. We are filled with the spiritual essence of beginning. The reason that those born into this earth from the womb are spiritual is because it is a reminder from the beginning, spirituality is the dominant force in the earth and always has been. However, it was not able to assert itself because the desire for spirituality to assert itself in the earth had waned over time through force and through manipulation. Now we are in this space where we recognize that it's not a he who brought us into this earth, but a she. We embrace that wholeheartedly. And now the glass is full again. There will be efforts made by the egotistical thoughts that we were reared with to pull us from the course that we're on. You have the strength, you have the power, you have the desire to resist, and you will. And when you resist, you will begin to see that all of those dead things around you will begin to fall away. The things that you thought were important, you will see that they are no longer important because you're not seeing them with your eyes. You're not thinking about them egotistically. You are seeing them with your eye, and with your eye, they are non-existent. They're just an illusion. So I'm going to ask you to do something right now. You know how when we gathered ourselves in churches and we joined hands and we prayed and stuff like that, when we did those things, Audrey made a statement about us being one and the unicity of it all. May not be exactly her words, but she, I That's what I gathered from what you've been saying. I would ask you to do this, if you may. I would ask you to shut the world out, close your eyes for a moment. And I simply want to embrace, I want to join hands. I want to join authority with you. I want to become aware. I want you to become aware of the oneness that we are. Have this experience with us right now. And this seems so out there, but it's really what I'm experiencing now. So if you don't mind, just for a moment, let's just breathe and be one with each other and experience the presence of each other. And from this space of transcendency, some for the first time have this experience. Whether it be life and death, whether it be sitting by a stream of water or lying in a bed asleep. The experience of unicity with the Creator is the same. She cuddles us and she allows us to feel comfort and peace. And that is the desire that's always been for us. It's been so long since we've cuddled with our Creator. It's been so long since we've experienced continued peace. It's been so long since we've known what an experience of oneness is like, until we have forgotten the touch of our Creator. That touch comes with desire. That touch comes with a hunger for the presence, the awareness of the presence of our Creator. And right now, what shall we do with what we have been shown? We embrace it, but more importantly, we become it. What does that mean to become it? If you can define what it means to become it, then you can define the mind of our Creator. And that's an impossibility. The inability to comprehend the essence of our Creator is there for a reason. The question is, are we able to comprehend who we are? We are not incomprehensible. Our Creator is. The thought of our Creator that brought us where we are now is not the entire thought of our Creator. It's the aspect of it that sustains the existence of the manifestations that we see with our eyes. These manifestations are there for us to not only see, but to experience, but not to experience from these ego, but to experience them from the depths of our soul. When that happens, we can tame the storms. When that happens, we can influence the minds of evil men. When that happens, we can transcend everything that besets us as people, not simply as Africans, but as people. However, if the African does not transcend, transcendency will not take place. We are in this earth having a physical experience. And the physical experience that we are having does not begin to show us or um, to show itself to us that the experiences that we ought to have, we've never had them with our Creator, the way that we are experiencing them now. So I do believe with everything in me that the numbers that we've spoken of are not simply numbers that we've spoken of. They are energies that are presenting themselves to us for us to embrace. From the womb of the goddess they come. The question is, are we going to embrace them, or are we going to intellectualize them and see them from an academic perspective? Or are we going to take them into our hearts and embrace them as the only reality that exists, the only reality that can bring humanity to a place of stability? We must embrace who we are without any doubt. And in doing so, we will begin to see things manifest. They don't manifest to your eyes until they have manifested to you. Because you are God in this earth. There's no doubt about that. So our journey with the planet array has brought us to a place now where we are on the precipice of stepping into each constellation and embracing that energy. So don't be surprised at what you see in the coming days, what you experience. In the face of anger, you will find joy. In the face of hatred, you will express love. You will see that everything is mundane, illusionary, non-existent, with the exception of the spiritual essence of everything that is. If indeed the spiritual realm is full of potential, because there's nothing created there, nothing grows there, it just is. And you being spiritual means that you have unlimited potential. What will you do with that potential that will benefit humanity? What will you do with that potential that goes beyond your selfish desires, that goes beyond your egotistical thoughts? That's all I have to say. Thank you. Questions, comments? I'm very much interested in your experiences. Very much interested in your experiences.
While you were speaking, I had this idea that it just felt like spiritually I've been, like, everything about the Creator has always been masculine in Christianity. And even when we got to a point in our understandings where we realized the Creator doesn't have a gender, my mind still defaulted to masculine. So to hear you speak about the Creator as a mother, as a woman, cuddling, nurturing, it just feels like finally that aspect has been missing. And there's been a yearning for it that I didn't even recognize until I heard you speak about it. Thank you.
Thank you. I read about.
thing that you just brought to my mind is that I was on a flight on Friday, and usually when I'm, I for years I've always had this thing about how does an airplane get off the ground? You've heard me say that before, but
Yeah.
I was on a flight on Friday, and I was usually when I'm there, just for my own comfort, I recite like the Shema, Hear, O Israel, the Lord is one, because that plane has to get one with the atmosphere to get off the ground. But I was thinking on the flight that, okay, so now what do I say? But I realized today that the oneness is truth. It doesn't have to be in Hebrew or in English or whatever. The oneness is the truth. We are in unity with the Creator. I don't have to recite the Shema. All I have to do is realize that I am in unity with the Creator. So that's a big comfort. And that is much more profound to me than having to recite anything anyway. It's just the realization and the seeing with my eye that I am in unity with the Creator. And also that it's a goddess. I agree,
Thank you.
Janice.
Yeah. Thank you. Anyone else? It's funny, this morning, before we go, this morning I read in my search for understanding, I read about the native, the First Nation instead of indigenous, instead of Native Americans, it's the First Nation in Canada, and how one of the storytellers was talking about their custom, and a woman fell through a hole from the sky, and that's how we came into existence. So what am I saying to you? There is a resurgence of the traditional embracing of the feminine nature of the Creator. I'm even hesitant that I was at times really to say Creator, because it engenders a masculine energy because of its connection to the He that we've been taught. But there is a transformation now. When I say Creator, it's 100% feminine. The essence of that energy is feminine. And it is constantly birthing life. And those two portals from the sun, to me, they are likened unto a womb that is continuously feeding the children who exit the womb. And that womb is continuously not only nurturing, but sustaining the life of everything that's in this world that the children occupies. If there are no questions or comments, I'm actually done. Okay, no questions or comments. The last thing, let me tell you this. I was told yesterday Charles is in the hospital. It is my desire that all is well with you, and I will be talking with you shortly. So let's focus our energy to the healing of Charles so he can go home. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great day. See you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Amen.
Have a good afternoon.